I think your man is 100% right about his friend. Y'all check this out.
I was talking to my buddy the other day who's been in a relationship with this old lady for 2 years. And she decides that she wants to go on a break. And this is a couple like I've never seen fight, never bicker in front of me, anything. And I hang out with them non-stop. And they just seem like the ideal couple. So I proceed to ask him, like, are y'all having problems? Like, what's going on? Why does she want to take a break out of nowhere? And he tells me the reason she wants to take a break is to figure out herself. That she's been going through a lot recently, and she just needs a mental break from everything for like a week or so. So I get more curious. I'm like, what does this break consist of? Like no contact, no this, that, whatever for like a week or so, and y'all just gonna come back in contact again and be back together? He says, no, we're gonna keep in contact. Everything's gonna be like it was. We're just not gonna hang out or anything like that. And then he lets some new information slip out. Basically saying that whenever she gets back from this vacation,
I beg your pardon?
they should be good. Me being a curious cat that I am, I asked him, what vacation is she going on? Like where? Where is she going? And I'm not bullshitting you when I tell you this. He said with a straight face that she's going to Miami with a couple of her girls just for the week.
Hey, bro, come on now, dog. Come on, man.
My friend is one of the most solid guys out there. Like I'm talking, we go out to the bar, he don't even look another girl's way. He's dedicated to this one woman. So when I tell you, I felt bad when I had to tell him that his girlfriend's got appointments that she's lining up on vacation. I truly felt bad for him. Because why is it so coincidentally that she wants a break when she's going to Miami with her girls for the weekend? I mean, the whole week, not even the weekend, the whole week. This was all over text, so I call him, I FaceTime him. And I look him dead in his eyes, and I say, buddy, this is not a break, this is a breakup. If you take her back after that trip, it's all downhill from there. Because I'd be damned to let my imagination run wild on what my girl did in Miami for a whole week with just her girls.
Now, I don't know his friend, or I don't know the whole situation, but I do want to say something. I'm very sure about this. That girl's going to have her hands on more meat than a butcher. That girl's going to go to Miami, and she's going to be like a flag on Memorial Day. She's going to be going up and down those poles. Now, the good thing here is that he has a good friend in his life who's telling him this so he doesn't fall for it. Because when she comes back, she's going to be just fine. She's going to mysteriously find herself, and everything's going to be back good. So just know that's going to happen, and if you take her back, you are a boo-boo the fool. And I do give her credit because she at least threw this out there to let you know what she's about to do. Because there are people out there who have a guilty conscience. She doesn't want to be known as a cheater, so by breaking up with you and doing it during that off time, she can say, hey, I never cheated on you, we weren't together. So I give her credit for taking that route because now he can then move accordingly, because some women would just go down there and do whatever and come back and act like nothing ever happened. Now this is still manipulative and shady, but I'd rather her do that than lie to me and tell me she's not even going to Miami and she's doing something else. The fact of the matter is, I am pretty sure when her and her girlfriends are down in Miami, they're gonna have more wieners in their face than a hot dog eating contest. So just know that, bro. Do not fall for any of the lies or the tricks she's gonna hit you with when she get back. It's all garbage. Nobody does what she's about to do, and it was all innocent. And I'm talking about taking a break from your boyfriend before you go to Miami for a week. It just doesn't happen. She's going down there to have some fun, and most likely she's gonna come back and want everything to be fine. Don't fall for it. And to the rest of you men out there, if you're ever in this situation, please know exactly what this is. When she says she wants to go find herself, she wants to go find herself on top of somebody else. That's what she wants to do.
When their arguments are weak, people start obsessing over the delivery. They cannot defeat the point, so they try to domesticate the person making the point. You cannot say that. You're being too emotional. You're being too harsh. Okay, but is it true? That is the question that these people keep avoiding. Is what I am saying actually true? We have entered this extremely bizarre cultural moment where the highest virtue is just sounding nice. And I find that genuinely unbearable, because why the hell do I have to preface with 12 minutes of reassurance every single time before disagreeing with you? You are a fully capable grown adult. You should be able to process a disagreement. Of course, there's such a thing as being unnecessarily rude. I'm not saying everyone should just walk around verbally punching people in the face as a hobby. I am extremely against actually expressing yourself in cruel ways that might scar the other person forever. But this is not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is this live, laugh, love, Instagram tone policing, vocabulary addicted people. We are humans, and as such, we sometimes do bad stuff. Different people at different levels. And it is completely okay if someone points that out. That is how growth happens, by becoming aware of your faults and blind spots. The tone of a sentence is not the same thing as the true value of a sentence. And you being offended at my argument does not mean that you have made any argument yourself. You just had a reaction, which is fine, have your reaction, but do not confuse that with having added anything meaningful to the debate. When someone constantly redirects the conversation from is this true to was this expressed nicely enough, they are making the problem the delivery, because they cannot handle the argument itself. And I think this is one of the most annoying traits in modern discourse, this need to baby-proof every single adult exchange. Everything has to be translated into the language of a preschool conflict resolution poster. I feel that maybe, perhaps, in some cases, cases, your behavior created some discomfort for me. No. How about, that was pathetic, that was fake, that made no sense. That's it. Let's talk about it. Either agree or agree to disagree and move the on. And if your entire self-concept collapses because someone used a clear adjective towards you, then maybe the problem is not this person's communication style, but maybe the problem is the fact that your ego has a structural integrity of wet toilet paper.
All I can say is this young lady came prepared. She knew exactly what she wanted to say and she said it. And I agree with her because this happens so much in this whole online debating space. Soon as it's something they don't want to hear and you know who they are, because this is where this comes from most of the time is women. I am not saying men don't get offended by certain things, but this happens a lot with women. Soon as they don't like something you're saying, it is about your tone, it is about your delivery, it is never about the truth. They love to shift the energy somewhere else. Let's get it off the truth. And we all know who they loved doing this to the most, and that was your boy Kevin Samuels. Every time he'll get him on his show and he would say something to him and you could not deny what he was saying. It was the absolute truth. Nobody was going to say otherwise, and the only thing these women would say after they heard it was, I don't like the way he said it. Well, does that really matter if what he's saying makes sense? If your whole argument was men should do this and he tells you why men shouldn't do that and he's correct, that was the goal of the phone call. The goal of the phone call wasn't to make you feel better. That's something totally different. That's what you women do to each other. But as far as when you called his show, it was to get an answer to your question or to fix your problem, but you don't want your problem fixed. You just want to feel better. That's why what she's saying is so true. This is why I'm always saying I don't ever want to do any type of panel with a bunch of women on it. I don't want nothing to do with that. I see these podcasts and these men and women are going back and forth. I get a headache listening to that sometimes. I can't deal with that. I'm going to say what I gotta say. I am not going to try to argue with you about something you know is not even true. You're just using it just because you don't want to lose. I don't want any parts of that. Either it's going to be shifting the energy to something else. I don't like the way you said it. I don't like the way you coming at me. Y'all can keep that. I don't want nothing to do with it. So I say all that to say I love what this woman is saying because she's absolutely correct. And I wish that a lot more people can understand this. So when it comes time to talk about something or to figure out the solution to a problem, we're all focusing on the solution instead of trying to debate over how I describe the problem.
I would date like a straight white guy too, but my type is like culture Jack Harlow.
ET adjacent.
No, I'd rather him be like more of a square because I'm trauma. Like I have a lot of trauma. So like someone like that would be more understanding versus for me, it's like a lot of black men, they have a lot of ego.
So let me get this right. Black men have an ego problem because we don't want to deal with your trauma. So because we don't want to deal with all of the craziness, all of the gaslighting, all of the lying, the manipulation, and all of the other garbage that comes with trauma, which in most situations comes from dealing with the non-straight men, the bad boys, the thugs, the Chaz, the Tyrones, those guys. Black men have an ego problem. But the white square dudes who can handle all of that, they're fine. Well, you know what? As a black man, I'll take that. I guess I have an ego problem. And to the lucky man who's going to end up with this walking trauma center / dumpster fire, all I can tell you is
Good luck.
we have to acknowledge that sometimes the problem is the parents when it comes to a lot of these kids. Y'all check this out.
And his daughter fight a man that my mom is laying down
you
with.
didn't help. That's why you.
Why would I?
It's okay. We didn't need your help.
I was 9 years old.
It don't matter, nigga. If you was 3, you was supposed to help.
You want a 9-year-old to help you fight a grown
Jonathan,
man.
all I'm asking you.
And that's why I evaluate my dad the way I do. Because listen to you.
Jonathan,
I never had to
your dad
fight
shot a gun in
nobody
the
for
air
my
at
dad.
me.
I've never had
your
to
dad shot a gun in the air.
compromise myself at 9 years old
Are you okay?
to fight somebody for my
you
dad.
okay?
My dad is responsible and grown enough to not put his
That
child
robbed you for
in that
$100,000.
predicament. What are you
Did
talking
you
about?
say he robbed you?
Look how she talk about a 9-year-old, chat. But did you help us?
Now, this has to be about the weirdest conversation I ever heard. So you're expecting a 9-year-old boy to protect you from a situation that you put yourself in as a grown woman. And then 15, 20 years later, you're throwing it in his face? I don't even know why you're around him at this point because you got some real issues. And then as soon as he questions you about it and then brings up the fact that his father wouldn't have put him in that situation, instead of acknowledging that maybe you're right, you started going in on the father, talking about the situation that he had. This young man's name is Blueface. I think he's a rapper or something. I'm not sure. I don't really follow him like that. But he had no chance to be a normal functioning boy with that mother around him. No chance whatsoever. He was going to grow up with tattoos on his face. If he was a rapper or not, he was going to grow up with tattoos on his face. And there are a lot of other kids out there who had no chance because of the parents. And the parents are still acting the same way they did when that child was young. And that's the sad part. Now, of course, there are kids who grow up with parents like this and they still figure out a way to make it or become successful. But that is not the rule. That is the exception. Most of those kids who grow up with those parents end up turning out just as bad as the parents or even worse. This is the type of parent that teachers hate. They don't want anything to do with them. Now, I don't know the whole situation because I didn't watch the whole interview, but this was wild and disturbing at the same time. Please like the video and leave a comment. I love listening to what you guys have to say. And don't forget to hit that hype button because it really helps me out with the algorithm and I really do appreciate it. Thanks for watching. See you next time.